Hello and happy June 12th. I am excited because today is Charlotte Bradley's bridal shower in Tillsonburg at 2 o'clock at the Tillsonburg train station. And my mom and Sarah Witten, one of Charlotte's fabulous friends, and I have put together a fantastic event for people to join us in the celebration of a union that absolutely could not have been put together by more divine hands than what were, because they are a match made in heaven, and I'm so excited to be able to welcome Charlotte to the family. So September 17th, not long yet to go. I wanted to put this video together not just to commemorate their anniversary or the day of the bridal shower and all the excitement that's leading up to the biggest party that they're ever going to host. But I was listening to a YouTube video by Matt Kahn of Divine Nature, which is a spiritual teacher channel medium that I've been paying attention to for nearly a year. And at one thing that he was saying after he complimented his partner who was on stage with him and just said, "Before you, I was a nobody that became a somebody." And it was a really sweet exchange, and afterwards he had said, "Everything you'll do that's worth doing is an ensemble performance." And it just struck me as so profound that he was speaking in terms of really shifting from dysfunction into function, and how the relationships that you attract and bring into your life at the particular time that they come into your life and also leave, those unions are spiritual teachers that have come onto your path to give you the lessons that are going to serve you in the evolution of your soul. And he spoke about the divine alchemy of bringing people who are experiencing their own individual awakenings together with others of a like mind or common vibration. And when I say vibration, think of it in terms of, scales and, radio stations, frequencies. You're dialed into this one, and, somebody else that's more functional is dialed into this one, so they don't come into your consciousness. But then you raise your awareness, so you get onto their wavelength, literally, and then you guys have that common ground and are able to find each other because you see each other energetically. You actually notice them because it's not as if they're not already around you. It's just you're not seeing the opportunities to see them, to meet them, to have that experience. And I really loved how he was speaking about how important it is to really be on your spiritual journey if that is what you are committed to. Spirituality is simply searching to know yourself. It's remembering who you are and whose you are. You are an individuated expression of the grand overall designer. You have infinite potential inside of you. And your current reality is not a reflection of your potential. It's only a reflection of your present level of awareness of your potential. Nothing more, nothing less. Your performance is what is showing up in your present. Your future is what can reflect your potential, because when you surround yourself with people that are like you, that are committed to becoming better versions of themselves every day, that recognize watching TV and escaping from life is not going to help you in the long run, because it's about creating that legacy. And it's about recognizing that who you surround yourself with is so important, and your partner above all else, because they're the ones that you exchange energy with most regularly and consistently. So really be willing to be on your spiritual path, to embrace yourself as a spiritual warrior. You are on the battlefield of life. Your meatsuit, the 3D version of yourself that's watching my 3D version of myself, it's nothing compared to what is within you. That part of you that when it leaves, nothing changes, except for everything changes. Your soul is what is the spark in your eye. I loved that when I heard it, and then it freaked me out, because it's true. When you look at somebody that's living, you see a brightness in their eye. They're excited. They're lit up. Literally, they're lit up. And their eyes are where you see their soul. That's an age-old expression, but it's true. Because when you look into the eyes of someone that no longer has a soul inside them, it doesn't reflect back the same way as it once did. And that's the change that is most frightening, aside from the fact that when that spark goes out, everything changes, because everything that that person once was to you is no longer going to be able to do in real time. And that is just another expression of a teacher that has crossed your path and blessed you, and a great reminder that it's really time to acknowledge the people in your life, the people that bless you every single day, or every single time you see each other, which, when it's real, feels just like the last time, except for you've just caught up on however long it's been since you last connected. And say thank you. Connect with them. Do something to continue to add value to those relationships. And recognize that the people that are not allowing you or assisting you to experience and express more of your authentic divinity, recognize that the moment abuse is introduced into a relationship, that spiritual contract between you and them is finished. That is a teaching that Matt Kahn shared several months ago in some of his YouTube channels, and I'll finish this by just saying, much of what I've just shared here comes from Matt, and he has really been an incredible fount of wisdom and insight. Obviously, I don't agree with everything, always, but there are a lot of nuggets, and I pick and choose the ones that best serve me, and I forget the rest because they're irrelevant. They're not on my wavelength. That's not to say in a couple months when I sometimes listen back to the same one while I'm doing something else, that I don't hear something different every time I hear something different when I listen back to it, as do you, because literally the ears that we're listening with have changed, as have your eyes. You see different things as you become a better version of yourself, a more expansive version of yourself. And that only happens with self-awareness and growth, which only happens by putting yourself in the path of growth and recognizing that the people you choose to come along the path on your journey with you make a huge difference to which path you choose and which terrain you have to maneuver, and ultimately where you go. I learned many valuable lessons about blind followship, which can be talked about in another video. But I share the nuggets piece because not everything I've said matters to you, but that one thing that you said, wow, if there was anything like that, what was the wow? And what are you going to do about it? How are you going to use that piece of information to actually bring it into your experience, integrate it into your experience, make it part of who you are? That's when that theory becomes practice. And that's when change takes place. So whether that's for this video or whether you just take that practice into how you approach life, I hope that serves you. Laura Hamilton, toothless, but not stopping. I say toothless, and it's funny because it's literally only one tooth. But it's all about what you focus on. And it's also about recognizing that shit happens. And sometimes you have to go without having one of your front teeth in for a month in order to get a tooth on there for life. And it's all about what are you willing to sacrifice in order to get what you want? What are you willing to give up in order to go up? John Maxwell. You've got to leave the baggage at the station. If you can't bring it with you if you want to go high. When you're doing any kind of physical exercise or activity that requires effort and you want to do well, what's the first thing you do? Drop your baggage. Why carry it around with you? It's not serving you. It's not serving you to say, oh, I can't do a video because I don't have my front tooth in my mouth. That is the ego speaking. The ego doesn't want to be outed. Doesn't want somebody to think that, you're less than perfect. Well, of course you're not perfect. We're all perfectly imperfect. There's something about all of us that's just a area of improvement or area for improvement. But it doesn't define you unless you choose for it to. Now I'm really going to wrap this up because I want to get this out to you. I want to wish you a happy Sunday. And I want to say it is absolutely my pleasure and honor to be able to add value to you and encourage you to get really intentional about your own path and recognize that when you look after yourself, everything you need falls into place because you aren't taking away from anyone else in order to have what you have. when you put yourself first and treat yourself as your number one. Not every single time, of course, but just where it matters. You know, when you don't have a lot of energy left and somebody is asking something of you that you know you're not going to be able to do properly, and you're going to be thrown into resentment and obligation because you committed to doing something irresponsibly because you didn't have it in you to complete the task. In those moments, you've got to treat yourself as your number one. You've got to be willing to say no. You've got to be willing to say, sorry, I have to look after myself tonight. I have to honor my plans. Looking after myself, cooking a good meal, going for a walk, or the gym, to a yoga class, whatever it is that you do to fill your cup. You've got to fill your well, because if you can get it to be overflowing, you can give from the abundance. If you're constantly giving what you need, you are depleting your supply. The supply is never depleted, but the flow. You can certainly get a kink in the hose. And kinks are unnecessary. If you just really check in with yourself before you say yes and see how that fits for you, where you are, where you're going, how this fits. And be willing to say no when it's necessary. You say yes when you feel excited and motivated and energized. And you recognize that sometimes your passion can move into comfort or detachment because it doesn't derive the same amount of pleasure for investing that passion into doing what you do, because now it's become a habit. And so it's less exciting, but it's equally important. So recognize that by treating yourself as your number one and allowing everyone else to treat themselves as their number one too, there is no number two in the room. There's only a number two in the room when you decide to bring that energy in. And when it comes down to big decisions, when it comes down to things that you're working on that don't bring that same level of passion and excitement because something else has possibly come onto your path that's attracted some of your focus, then you can really take that time to look within yourself and recognize that lack of passion doesn't mean less important. It just means, how is this serving me in my path? And then goes back to, is it baggage? Can you make that 32 kilogram suitcase into a carry-on bag into your life? Can you leverage, automate, delegate, systematize the activities that you do in order to work smarter, not harder? So lots extra after I said I'm absolutely done. So we'll say it again and mean it. Have yourself a spectacular day. Lots of love. Namaste. Laura Hamilton. Ciao for now.